Tonight's upload is different, and I am saying this in simple words so no one misses anything, because this is not a joke, and not a movie, and not a prank. And you must listen until the end, because if you stop halfway you may not understand. How to stay safe? I run a small horror channel. I collect strange clips and stories and turn them into videos. Last week, I got a file in my email with no sender name. The subject line was, "Slenderman is real." The message body was empty. Just a cloud link. I should have deleted it, but I was curious. I clicked. I found one folder with 4 subfolders inside. Each subfolder had a title, a date, and a short note. The 4 titles were the campsite, the elevator, the classroom. The driver, the dates looked normal, 3 months apart each. The notes were short lines like warnings. I will tell you each story in simple words, like a compilation, because the clips were broken. The sound was bad, and some parts looked corrupted. I wrote down what I saw and what I heard, and after that I will tell you what happened to me. -1, the campsite. The first clip opened on a phone camera moving through dark trees. I could hear 2 people, a boy and a girl, laughing and whispering. Their names were James and Alina. I know this because Alina kept saying, "James, stop it. You're going to make me drop my phone." And James kept saying, "Come on, the fire pit is this way." The light from the phone made thin lines on the bark. It was night, but the leaves looked pale, like paper. They reached a small clearing with a circle of stones and some wood. James used a lighter. The fire started weak. Then there was that sound that I now hate, a thin static like a radio not tuned. It came in and out, like the forest was full of a quiet hiss. Alina said, "Do you hear that?" James laughed and said it was the wind. But there was no wind. The flames barely moved. The phone shook. The camera turned toward the trees. There was a tall shape between 2 trunks. Too thin for a person, too still. At first I thought it was a dead tree. A bare trunk, but there was a suit shape, like dark cloth, in the night. And where the face should be, it looked smooth and blank, like a pale oval. I paused the clip and zoomed in frame by frame. It was not a tree, Alina whispered, "James." And her voice changed. Her words got small. She said, "Don't look at it." She turned her face down like she was hiding her eyes. James said, "Hey, who's there?" Trying to make a joke, he took a step forward. The static got louder, not in the phone, but in the clip itself, like the world was buzzing. The tall shape stepped forward too, but I did not see legs move. It was closer in one cut, then closer again. The camera skipped like it blinked. A new detail appeared in the bottom corner. A circle with an X through it had been scratched on a rock near the fire. I did not see anyone draw it, but it was there, Alina said. "He follows when you look." "Don't look." Her voice was shaking now. The phone dropped and rolled. For 2 seconds we saw the night sky and the edge of a very long arm, too long, with jointless length like a wire. Reaching down, then the clip ended. The file name said, "Don't film him." The note in the folder read, "Cover your eyes with your sleeve. Leave the fire lit. Walk backward. Never turn your back. -to the elevator." The next subfolder had a security camera video, grainy and green. A timestamp said 2:33 a.m., a parking. Garage, elevator, concrete, empty. The doors opened. A man in a hoodie walked in. He pressed L and stared at his shoes. The doors started to close, then stopped, like something blocked them. The static hiss came back, not loud, but thin, like the clip had dust in the sound. The doors opened again. No one stood there. But the man took a step back like he smelled something bad. He stared at the threshold. He did not look up. He kept his head down. He pressed closed door with his thumb, fast, over and over. The doors began to close again, and again they caught on nothing. The sensor flashed. The time stamp flickered between 2:33 and 2:34, and then back to 2:33. The elevator thought time was a loop. The man started to cry. He put his sleeve over his eyes, like he was wiping tears. He pressed every button. The lights in the elevator got a little dim. Not dark, just wrong, like the color of the air changed. Something very tall leaned in from above the doorframe. You could only see it as a long, thin line where a person should have a shoulder and a smooth oval where a head should be. It did not bend like a body. It slid in like a shadow. The man made a small prayer sound. Please, please, please. He kept his eyes covered. He faced the corner. He did not look. The elevator began to move. The camera showed the numbers. B2, B1, L2, 5, 7, 9, not in order, like the building was a stack of wrong floors. When the doors finally opened, the man ran out with his sleeve still over his face. He did not look back. The camera blinked for one frame only. There were black marks on the wall of the elevator, for long lines from floor to ceiling, like fingers dragged along concrete. The note in the folder read, "Never ride alone after midnight. If you hear static, face the corner and cover your eyes. If the numbers go out of order, get off on any floor with people. Do not look into the reflective metal. -3, the classroom Z." Third clip showed a school classroom, daytime, sunlight on the whiteboard. A woman in a cardigan wrote a sentence. The kids were quiet, too quiet for kids. The phone camera was hidden in a desk, and it pointed at the window. The glass reflected the room a little. I could see the teacher's back, and the kids' heads, and my own face like a ghost while I watched on my computer screen. I looked away, because reflections bother me now. The teacher said, "Class, we do not write in black marker today." Her voice was calm but slow, like she was telling a child how to cross a street. She placed a box of blue markers on each table. The kids did not ask why. They did not fidget. They kept their eyes on the desks. One boy raised his hand and said, "Miss Green, he is at the fence again," and he did not look out the window. The phone camera did. The field outside was bright, clean grass. A chain-linked fence at the far end, beyond the fence, between two thin trees. There was a tall shadow, like a cut in the day. The air around it looked hot, like heat above a road. It was not moving, but a small girl near the window put her hands over her ears like she could hear the static and said nothing. Miss Green said, "Remember the rules." She handed out cloth bands like blindfolds. The children did not tie them. They placed the bands on their foreheads like sweatbands, ready to slide down over eyes if needed. They had done this before. The phone camera shook a little. The child who hid it was breathing fast. A piece of paper sat on the desk with a circle and an X drawn again and again all over it. Dozens of them, like a pattern. A black marker rolled across the floor from the teacher's desk. It bumped the boy's shoe and stopped. No one touched it. The boy stared at his shoe and did not look down. The static sound rose like air pressure, very thin but everywhere. Miss Green said, "Class, heads down." They all slid the bands over their eyes. She kept writing on the board with a blue marker. The camera did not look down. It stared at the reflection in the window. For a breath, in the glass, a long, grey arm reached across the room and almost touched her shoulder. But when she turned, there was nothing in the room, only light and quiet kids with covered eyes. The note in the folder read, "Teach them early, blue ink, blinds down, Bands ready. Never use black. It notices black. Minus for the driver, the last subfolder had dashcam footage from a rideshare driver. Night rain on the windshield, wiper blades knocking. The map app spoke in a flat voice. Turn left in 50 meters. The driver hummed to himself. He reached for a paper bag on the seat. The camera picked up a shadow in the back seat, though no one was there. Like the seat was darker than it should be, the driver stopped at a light. On the right side there was a closed park, a gate, a sign with rules. The time on the dash said 2:33 a.m. The radio made small, soft snow sounds, though it was off. The driver looked into his rearview mirror. He smiled like a habit, but the smile died. He leaned forward. He tilted the mirror down. He did not want to look. He put his sleeve over his eyes, like the man in the elevator. He whispered, "Not again." The light turned green. He drove. His breathing went fast. He kept the mirror tilted so it showed his chest, not the back seat. The wipers clicked. The park fence slid by. Between two lamps, a tall shape stood very close to the road, like a sign or a pole. But it had shoulder lines and a head shape too smooth, too pale. The car camera blurred for 1 second, like the lens flinched. The driver said, "I'm sorry," like he was talking to someone behind him. He said, "I won't look," he said. "Please, let me get home." The GPS voice said, "You have arrived," in a cheerful sound that felt wrong. He pulled into a driveway. He did not turn off the engine. He put a cap over the mirror, like a little cover he had made from cardboard. He kept his sleeve over his eyes and counted to 30. He opened the door and climbed out with his head down. He kept one hand in front of his face like a sun visor. He walked to the front door. He fumbled the keys. The static hiss rose again behind him. The backseat door of the car opened by itself in silence. The camera saw a long, long shadow stretch across the wet ground and touch his shoe. The note in the folder read, "If you must drive, cover mirrors. Do not look into glass. If you hear static, do not speak its name. It follows sound. It wants attention." I watched all 4 clips twice. Then my computer crashed. All screens in my home went black, and then showed a white circle with an X across it. It stayed there for 3 seconds. Then everything returned to normal. I told myself it was a glitch, bad files, malware maybe. I went to delete the folder and empty the trash. But a new 5th subfolder had appeared. The title was just my name. I clicked it. Inside was a single text file that said, "You looked," and below that a time, 2:33, and my address. I did not share my address with anyone. My hands began to shake. I covered my eyes with my sleeve without thinking. I remembered the notes. I remembered the teacher and the elevator man and the driver. I turned off every mirror I could. I put a towel over the bathroom mirror. I turned my computer monitor to face the wall. I told myself I would not look out of any window. I told myself I would keep my head down, but in the night, a quiet hiss started inside the walls. Not loud, just that thin snow sound. Like the world is between stations. I set my phone to record because I needed proof for the video. I needed to warn people. I opened my voice recorder and talked to you. To the viewers, in simple words, no big sentences, only rules. Here are the rules I learned from all 4 folders and from what happened after. If you hear thin static when everything is quiet, do not look at any glass or screen. Cover your eyes with your sleeve or a cloth band and keep your head down. Do not use black ink after midnight. Do not draw a face. Do not try to give it eyes. If you must move, walk backward with your head down and a hand in front of your face. Keep a light behind you, not in front. Keep a small fire if you are outside. It hates the orange color. In an elevator, face the corner. Cover your eyes. Press many buttons. Stop where you hear people. In a car. Cover the rear view mirror and any shiny surface. Drive with steady speed and do not talk to it. It likes when you say its name. Never film it on purpose. The clip will break. And the act of filming is the same as staring. If you draw the circle with the X, draw it again and again, not once. Keep your hand moving. It slows it down. Tell children the rules in simple words, so they will obey fast. Do not think that one time is the last time. It comes back after 3 months. Sometimes sooner if you look again. I made this list and felt a little better. The static sound went low, like it was moving away. I stayed like that, head down, sleeve over my eyes. I counted to 200. I started to breathe normal. I told myself it was okay. Then my phone vibrated. The timer I did not set was counting down from 233, and the numbers were moving backwards, not forwards. At 0, the phone camera opened on its own. The front camera showed my face, my sleeve. My eyebrow, my reflection, stared at me with eyes I did not have covered. I was not raising the cloth in real life, but the reflection was. It smiled a small, wrong smile. My heart went hard in my chest. The static grew. I put the phone face down. I did not look again. I crawled to the door and sat with my back against it. I slid the Circle X note under the crack like a charm. I whispered the rules, again and again, like a child says a prayer. The hiss faded slowly. The house air felt normal again. The refrigerator hummed like it should. I fell asleep in the hallway with my sleeve still over my eyes. In the morning, I opened the folder to delete it for good. It was empty now, except for one new note. It said, "Upload or look." That is why I am telling you this in one part. In simple, basic English, like a compilation that is also a warning. Maybe it wants attention. Maybe it wants the sound of its story to live inside your speakers. Maybe I am doing the wrong thing by sharing, but the note said upload or look, and I cannot look. If you are watching this, and you heard a little hiss in your headphones at any point, do not panic. It is not always a sign. Sometimes it is only old audio, but if your room feels a little heavy around 2:33 a.m., if your screen shows a white circle with an X, if you feel the air press your ears like you are inside an elevator going nowhere, then follow the rules. Slow your breath, cover your eyes. Do not give it what it wants. Do not give it the look. People always ask, is Slenderman real? The truth is simple and not nice. It is real enough that rules help. It is real enough that teachers keep blue markers on purpose. It is real enough that drivers make small cardboard caps for their mirrors. It is real enough that campers leave fires burning when they run. It is real enough that while I finish this story, my computer clock is stuck on 2:33 and the cursor is moving by itself toward the camera icon. I am not going to look. I am going to reach out with my sleeve over my eyes and press upload. And then I am going to walk backward to the bedroom and lie down with my head under the blanket like a child. And if you hear that thin hiss in your own room tonight, remember, do not look for a face, because there isn't one, and that is worse. That is how you know it is near. This is the end of the story and also the beginning, because compilations never really end. They just wait 3 months and start again. If you must leave a comment, do it before midnight. Do not type the name. Write only the circle and the X, and if your screen blinks while you do, put your sleeve over your eyes and count to 30. Keep your head down. Let it pass. The last line in the last note inside the folder said, "Thank you for watching," but the handwriting was not like a person's. The letters were too tall and straight, like they were written by something with long fingers that does not bend its wrist. I will not keep that note. I will burn it after this upload. I will burn all of it, and if the fire makes the static fade for even 1 minute, that is enough for me to sleep. Do not look, do not film, do not say its name. If you feel the hiss in the quiet, remember the rules, and remember that simple things can save you: a sleeve, a band, a blue marker, a small fire, and the choice to keep your eyes down, because Slenderman is real the way a shadow is real. It grows when you stare, and tonight, please, do not stare.